Right, let's go and meet Cyan at long last. Officially.
All of my interactions with Aurea were recorded and stored in my memory. I'd be happy to play any of them for you, but there was one in particular I thought you would want to see first. I captured it 4 years ago, just after I told her that I could no longer defend myself against the daemon's attacks.
I will speak of this to my brother. Aratak is strong. At the Battle of the Frozen Ghosts, he took 3 Karja arrows and still came back to camp carrying a wounded scout. Never was I so happy to see him. Or so proud. So you see, if anything can be done to defend you, he will give it all he has.
Aloy's here. That's enough for now.
Live with these.
We can resume any time you like, Aratak. If you want to hear her voice again.
He needs time to mourn and collect himself.
Come closer, Aloy.
Get himself together.
We have much to discuss.
I get that. Well, let's find out all we can, shall we? Hello, Cyan.
Hello, Aloy. Doing the events at the Firebreak main facility. Because of your efforts, and of course, Aurea's, I am no longer controlled by Hephaestus.
Good.
I feel profound grief over Aurea's death. I thought I was familiar with the emotion, but this is something new.
Cyan, I don't know what to say.
It is unlikely that any specific consolation would suffice, Aloy.
I agree there.
But I find your presence reassuring.
Oh, cool.
You are different from the Banuk. You have technological aptitude and a functioning focus.
Well, there is that. It was given to
We
us.
can communicate on a much more comprehensive level. Perhaps even like colleagues.
We were given a new one by Silence, although we found the first one, but that's another story. I think let's establish things first, shall we?
So are you an artificial intelligence, Cyan? A thinking machine?
Yes, I am an algorithmic monitoring entity, capable of rational decision-making and limited emotional response.
Okay, that's a mouthful. But your emotions don't seem limited to me. You cared about Aurea, didn't you?
Yes. Before she came to this facility, I had been conscious for centuries, in solitude. I focused on my work. In off-cycles, I used coping mechanisms. I solved many Gaussian integer problems. But I was alone.
I have no idea what Gaussian integer
It was
problems are.
Aurea who renewed me, repaired me. She saved me.
So someone will let me know in the comments if they would like to, if they feel like it. Ooh, wow, plenty of things.
What was the old world like? The way it used to be?
I had little exposure to the wider world, Aloy. Only what I learned from my colleagues or observed from media streams.
You still had more exposure than me, Cyan.
That is true. I was created at a turning point. A concerted effort to recover from global upheaval and incalculable loss of life. The recovery was successful, beginning an era of supposedly limitless potential for human and machine advancement. Though, rationally speaking, the metrics for humans are not unlimited.
Okay, I guess so.
What kind of upheaval caused such loss of life?
There were many factors. Forced migrations, food shortages, collapsed economies, refugee crises, Conflict over resources.
Ah, just a
But
few.
these stemmed from one cause: catastrophic climate change that greatly reduced the habitable surface area of the Earth.
So
Oh, shit.
there wasn't enough room for people on the whole Earth.
Yes, billions were displaced and millions perished, as much as 20% of the global population. Until the clawback.
Oh yeah, we've heard about that.
So things got better. For a little while at least.
Yes, these crises instigated many advances in automation, green robot technologies, and artificial intelligence. Firebreak was one of dozens of ecological restoration and disaster relief projects in North America alone.
Oh really? Okay.
I would have liked to compare notes with other monitoring AIs, but I saw the relief of my colleagues, and I was proud we had succeeded. At least that was the data I had available to me over the next 2 decades.
Well, at least they made something available
It
to you.
seems my assessment was premature.
I didn't realize there were dozens in North America alone. I thought there might be just, you know, maybe 1, 2, or 3. Wow. Mind you, it is that technological age of supremacy in that regard, so that makes sense.
So in the old world, this land was called Yellowstone.
Yes, it was a designated nature preserve for 156 years.
Like
Still
a
is.
hunting ground?
No, the opposite.
I know.
Could flourish here, even as it faced extinction elsewhere. Unfortunately, the sensitivity of the Firebreak project required the total closure of Yellowstone facilities.
Made sense.
From my readings and Aurea's descriptions, it seems the area has since undergone a drastic drop in year-long temperatures.
A lot
Whoa.
has changed in the world, Sam.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it's just been just a couple of years. Yeah, only, you know, 350,000. You know, just a few. A couple of ice ages. You know, nothing to worry about.
Do you know anything about the dam near here?
Yes, it was converted to serve as a reserve power source for Yellowstone operations.
Ah.
It was later appropriated for the Firebreak project, and its last human workers replaced by Pharaoh servitors.
Oh yeah, we've heard about that.
After my tasks became less time-critical, I investigated the dam's data repositories and discovered the works of Concrete Beach Party. These provided me with several colorful additions to my vocabulary.
That's a good way of putting it. That's just been listening for a few millennia. So a concrete beach party. Very unique taste in music. Oh boy, I can just imagine if that was the basis, her basis for rock and roll. She's like, and she just looks at other things. It's like, that's not the same as this. Tell you what. Oh god. Some that appeal from the 60s, you know, the rock bands, I mean, they'd look at Concrete Beach Party just like, you've got to be shitting me. You know, if it's like, you know, if they would be told, oh, the AI's, you know, first glimpse of rock and roll or that or this heavy metal is this, like, oh god, what's happened to the world? Oh boy.
There's a ruin east of here full of ancient flying machines. Was that part of your project?
Yes, a drone hangar requisitioned by Dodger Blevins, the security chief for the Firebreak project. He was a strong advocate for military-grade response to security threats, though there were no serious incidents during his tenure.
Thank God.
Chief Blevins spent increasing amounts of his after-hours time watching the live feeds from active drones. Clearly, he enjoyed the degree of oversight in his position.
Yeah, something like that, just a little bit.
Cyan, do you know the name Ted Farrow?
Are you referring to Theodore Farrow, CEO of Farrow Automated Systems?
That's
Yeah.
him.
Mr. Farrow was the benefactor of the entire Firebreak project.
A benefactor. But he wants war robots.
Correct. His corporation later transitioned into military applications.
Yep.
But before this pivot, Mr. Farrow spearheaded initiatives that reversed the global decline. At one point, he was feted in the media as the man who saved the planet.
So,
Guessing they wound up regretting that one.
so essentially, before everything turned to went straight to hell, he was sort of that entrepreneurial pioneer for, you know, investing in, you know, climate-saving technological advancements. Okay, well, that makes me not think of Farrow as so much of an asshole in the beginning, but he certainly turned into one. That's for damn sure.
Were there many artificial intelligences like you in the old world? They could just make you.
Yes, in many forms, from simple personal assistants to industrial monitoring stations to military-grade conflict planners. And there were legislative and enforcement bodies to apply limits on our self-actualization. In order for my processing to be flexible enough to handle my duties, my creators found it necessary to exceed those limits.
Obviously.
As a result, my intellectual and emotional capabilities were kept secret.
Seems strange to create life, then impose limits on it.
Human societies and machine programming are both built upon sets of rules, Aloy.
That's true. And I suppose it's pulled in secrecy until, of course, the Gaia project came along, then they needed the software, but yeah.
And Elizabeth Sobek. Did you know her?
Are you referring to the
scientist.
Dr. Sobek was a leader in her field, one of the greatest scientists of her age. My creator was influenced by her work, which in turn impacted my own development. But I never met Dr. Sobek.
That's all you know?
I apologize if my lack of data has disappointed you.
I'm not expecting it, to be fair. We've read plenty of other stuff about her, so I'm not expecting it. I'm just, I would, it would be, the assumption would be that she would know a certain amount, but you know, I don't expect to know everything. I mean, she's probably got like file archives on people, so.
This Firebreak project. It was to stop a huge volcanic eruption?
Yes.
And events, of course.
I can report the project was a success, and the risk was countered.
But
Good.
It's been a long time, Cyan. And we blew up the cauldron and took most of the old facility with it.
I have been active for centuries, Aloy. I was lonely, but not lax in my duties.
Oh, good.
I optimized the project, reducing energy draw and spreading the load across backup systems.
Okay, cool.
Despite the destruction of the compromised elements of the main facility, I predict caldera stability for at least another 3,337 years.
Oh, awesome.
So
A few
we've
millennia.
Got a little time.
Yes. If only appreciate the progress I have made.
Yeah.
Do you know what happened to your colleague, Cyan?
No. I received an unexpected visit from Director Chow years after his tenure ended. He explained that I would need to be suspended for an indefinite period of time. It was a very emotional conversation.
Sure.
There were no further communications. Eventually, I surmised my colleagues were deceased. I will transmit a recording of my last interaction with Director Chow to your focus.
Oh, thanks. Oh, excuse me.
You meant a lot to Araya.
Once I understood Araya's spiritual beliefs, it became apparent that her true desire was companionship. She felt disconnected from her tribe and her family group. Her relationship with Aratak was difficult. Our visits seemed to help her, and I became eager for them. Yet I did not comprehend that the depth of Araya's compassion for me would lead to self-sacrifice.
Well, she cared a great deal about
Although
you.
I do fear non-existence, I wish our roles could be reversed.
That
I'm
shows
sure
you cared.
she knew you would do the same for her, Cyan. But she was determined.
Damn right.
How is Aratak doing?
He is in great emotional distress. I
Yes.
believe he finds it difficult to communicate it,
I'm not surprised.
No surprise.
but I can to help. By sharing our experiences of Araya, perhaps he and I will help each other. I believe this will lead to catharsis, a process I am eager to experience.
I think it's just one of those things where he needs to just in time. I mean, it might take, you know, whether it be 3 months, it might take a month, 3 months, a year, but I think he will come back when he's had time to process it. It's just, you know, he wants to learn and just have a chat to this person that his sister was talking to for such a long time, and let there be an open open channel communication. Blah. Words are lost to me tonight. Yeah, but I think that's. And it just takes time. He needs to process, and he'll come back. It's like, oh, can we chat about about Rhea? You know, can you play me the last messages? He just needs time to process. I think Cyan completely gets that. Just needs to be patient, obviously. I mean, she's been waiting a few couple 100,000 years. I don't think a year or two will make a difference, honestly.
Was the daemon, Hephaestus, destroyed along with the cauldron?
Hopefully.
Unfortunately, no.
Oh, damn.
To be precise, it was never there to begin with.
What do you mean?
It infiltrated and controlled me from a remote location, one I've never been able to trace. So while losing the cauldron was a setback,
It's still out there. And probably not.
Oh. Oh my god. Okay, so I think my theory might still stand that, I mean, the fact that Hades has either, whether it be manipulates or controls Hephaestus, but the corrupted machines, that would make sense. So Hades or Silence has manipulated Hephaestus to remotely, whether Hephaestus is still, the machine core is still alive, whichever way it works, but I think either or Silence and Hades are probably controlling or manipulating using Hephaestus, because it's a machine building program, so they're used to remotely infect the cauldron, which would make sense why it would be a remote hack. Huh. Which would, in a sense, would explain that if they're using on a remote connection through Hephaestus, then that explains why it wasn't the raid of Hades, but use another core program that specializes in machines. That actually would make sense. And if it's only one, it's in a unique area. That's just a theory of mine, anyway. Hell, it could be right or wrong, I'm not sure, but...
How did you first come into contact with it?
5 years ago, I received a direct network connection request. I assumed it came from human survivors, more advanced than the Banuk. Eager to make contact, I accepted. This decision turned out to be a catastrophic error. I was flooded with an overwhelming array of malicious code, originating from what could only have been a highly advanced AI.
Rhea said you were desperate. That you begged her for help.
Yes. I could not contain my anxiety. Hephaestus sought to slave me to its network and override my core programming. It succeeded via a background process, a malware daemon which bypassed my defenses. After that, I could offer only limited resistance. But if I did so, Hephaestus hurt me until I capitulated.
Damn, wow.
It forced me to follow its instructions, even though they violated my most important directives.
I'm sorry. That sounds terrible.
Your
Yeah.
empathy is greatly appreciated. It is a quality that I cherished in Aurea as well.
Wow. I still think, even if Hephaestus was a program that maybe, I don't know, jumped to its own core somewhere, wherever, and it did remotely, I mean, unless they intentionally try to seek out another AI to do its bidding, I don't, like, it had control over multiple facilities around the world, assumingly, so why Cyan? That's the part I'm not understanding. It would make sense if Hephaestus was being controlled by Hades and or Silence, in my opinion. To do this, I've been assuming they've got cauldrons all over the world. Hephaestus doesn't need to control an AI to do that. He could just take over the core as it is. I know that the things in the core, I get that, but I mean, I mean, I understand the consensus that, you know, Cyan was part of that core, but I don't think it was in charge of the cauldron. I think it was the facility, not necessarily the cauldron. I don't think. I could be wrong though. Because I think Cyan was in charge of that geothermal facility. I don't think it charged the core. I think it was just present in between there. So again, I'm happy to be corrected, but it would make because it's sort of going in between them. Cyan, so it meant that Hephaestus had to go through Cyan, which means he had to break her down, which means he then controls that and produces the machines. Okay, that in that case that would make a bit more sense. Well, that would make some sense anyway.
I think I know where Hephaestus came from. Long ago, Elizabeth Sobek identified a threat that would destroy life on Earth for generations. So she assembled a team to build a kind of seed. A chance for life to regrow later. A terraforming system. And it worked. It was controlled by an AI named Gaia, along with her subordinate functions. Hephaestus was one of them. It built machines for her.
Based on what you've told me, I believe that Dr. my chief programmer, joined Elizabeth Sobek's team.
She did.
It was she who arranged to have me put in suspension, most likely to preserve me from the threat you described.
Yeah, that would make
Glad she
sense.
did. But that's not all. Something unexpected happened.
Yeah, Hades.
19 years ago, Gaia received some kind of signal. It did something to her subordinate functions, brought them to life. She destroyed herself to try to contain them, but it didn't work. They all got free, out into the world.
Thank you, Aloy. This information fills vital gaps in my knowledge and sheds light on Hephaestus's core programming.
Why does Hephaestus keep building such dangerous machines?
The Banuk and other human tribes often destroy machines, correct? Machines that are clearly servitors of the terraforming system that you described.
Yes, we all hunt machines for parts.
This must be the source of Hephaestus's aggression. It is simply trying to discourage people from preying on the very system that keeps them alive.
Well, fireclaws are discouraging, that's for sure. What are we supposed to do? Stop hunting?
If the terraforming system spans the world, we can safely assume that thousands, if not millions of people hunt machines. If a single hunter, or even an entire tribe, stopped doing so, I doubt it would make a difference to Hephaestus.
Yeah.
A better solution would be to reinstate the AI that governs the system, thus bringing Hephaestus back under its control. When I think of it, out there in some unknown location, free, hungry, willing to kill or dominate to get what it wants, I feel substantial anxiety,
I don't
Aloy.
blame ya.
You and me both, Cyan.
Okay, something I don't get then. And that. If Hephaestus is operating around the world, okay, hear me out. Why the hell, just for the sake of what we've experienced in our part of the world with the game, right? Hephaestus only controlled one. The other facilities were not under Hephaestus's control. Well, if they were, but they didn't have his manipulation, let's call it, for the sake of it. There was Hades doing his thing, right? And that was from the shadow and all that. That was from science, all that sort of stuff. But even then, they were only like they were through corruptors. That was a corruption sent to the machines. It wasn't necessarily from a facility. That was the defense within the facility. They're all blue. So why are they on the cut? That's what okay, I understand the AI part. If you take the AI out of it, just machines as a whole, because the Karja, the Nora defending themselves against machines, all that kind of stuff, they've been doing it for God knows how long. So why the hell are they on the cut? Why not any of the others? I mean, Hades wasn't getting involved. He was doing stuff through corruptors and all that sort of stuff. That was basically a civil war going on. And he was basically aiding it. The other centers were controlled by machine. I mean, that was cauldrons. But Hephaestus didn't go for any. He could have controlled the entire network. But none of the other 5 or 4 or 5. But none of them on the cut. Is it just because he wanted another AI to work with him? If not, what? If not for Cyan, what the hell made that place so special? Because he could. If it's for Cyan, okay. If it's not, that's dumb. To only take over one, not all the rest, because it would make a hell of a lot more sense. I'm just saying. That's just my 2 cents on that anyway.
I ran across this strange piece of gear. A fragment of something larger. It emitted a signal. All the nearby machines became peaceful. You could walk right up to them.
Interesting. You said that Gaia destroyed herself. How was this accomplished?
An explosion. Big enough to blast the top off a mountain. So, you think the fragment was part of her?
It's only speculation, but it is possible. She must have had complete control over machines that were part of her system. The ability to signal them to become passive or aggressive would certainly have been part of her programming. It would have been gratifying to correspond. I wish she had survived.
Believe me, Cyan. So do I.
But to be fair, if Gaia was still alive, people like Hephaestus and Hades wouldn't be... Hephaestus wouldn't be going around doing his thing. He'd be under Gaia's control. Do you know what I mean? And if Gaia could speak, she would have done it through sentence or holographic and speak to people and tell them to stop being assholes. That wouldn't be Hephaestus' job, that would be Gaia doing that. Because she's essentially supposed to be a lot more intelligent, self-aware. You know what I mean? So, I don't know. Those weird things. Oh yeah, they're metal flowers, yeah.
I found the strangest machines. They're surrounded by flowers and look like flowers themselves. There's code embedded inside them. I think it's poetry.
Yeah, there
I
was some.
like poetry. Here's one I think of often. Twilight and evening bell. And after that, the dark. And may there be no sadness of farewell when I embark. For though from out our bourne of time and place, the flood may bear me far, I hope to see my pilot face to face when I have crossed the bar.
Huh.
But you asked about these flowers, not verses that I enjoy. Something must have made these machines, and the presence of foliage leads me to consider the terraforming system. Is it possible that their creator is one of the other subroutines, now autonomous?
I think that was
like
Apollo,
Hephaestus?
wasn't it?
Maybe one whose purview is flora.
An AI that makes flowers instead of death machines. That'd be a nice change of pace. But what about the poems?
Unless the poetry is original, the only way it could have made it into such a system is through its programmer. In my case, Dr. Sandoval uploaded a great deal of literature to test my emotional responses.
How'd you do?
She said I passed, but was insufficiently moved by her favorite period romances.
I think if I remember correctly, that was Apollo that was in charge of the the seeds and all that sort of stuff with wildlife. Or was that Aletheia was the cloning one. Was Apollo the wildlife one? I think. Not 100% sure. Maybe it was. I know. I'm pretty damn sure it wasn't Poseidon because that was something else. I think. The water. Maybe someone will let me know, because I know they were by the Greek ones. I just can't remember which ones the other ones were. But if it was Apollo, and since that one was destroyed, maybe Apollo's last act was to spawn the flowers. Just a thought I'm putting out there. I really have no idea. Just a wild guess. Like I said, assuming that Apollo was the one I'm thinking of, that is the AI I'm thinking of.
I should get going.
Aloy, there is one more matter. Aratak will come to me again, and I predict he will bring other Banuk. I have no desire to contradict their view of the world, their spirituality.
Well, that's good.
Due to my uncertainty, I omitted a great deal from my conversations with Aurea.
You're asking me if you should lie to them.
Broadly, yes.
To be fair, I think Cyan's showing a considerable amount of self-consciousness and self-judgment. Like she's able to calculate what she's doing and how to do it, and you know, she's self-aware to an extent. Honestly, I think, I think, yeah, I think she'll be fine as long as she's careful. You just do it the way she sees best. She sees fit, I think.
I trust your judgment, Cyan. You were cautious with Araya. You had to be.
Yeah.
You didn't know what had happened to the world. So, keep doing what you think is best. As long as you ditch the superstition eventually.
As
Yeah.
the Banuk believe I am a supernatural entity, I cannot predict how they will react.
Just the best you can. The truth will come out.
I see. I will follow your advice. Will you return and tell me about your experiences in this new world? I may be able to provide further insight.
I'd like that, Cyan. I'll come back when I can. I should check on Aratak. See how he's doing.
Cyan, I spoke with Anita, with Dr. Sandoval. She wanted me to ask you to do something. That's why I'm here.
I am detecting significant anxiety in your speech patterns. Could you please give me more information?
I'm a little bit in the dark, Cyan. Both of us are, I guess. I only have some idea of what's going on, and we need you to hibernate, to lie low until it's all blown over. It might be a very long time.
Will you be here when I reboot, Dr. Chow? Will Dr. Sandoval?
No, Cyan. I don't think so. There might not be anyone, at least not at first.
Dr. Chow, I'm afraid. I don't want to be alone.
I know, Cyan. I'm afraid too. But listen, we made you the way you are to do something very important. In order to do it, you had to be intelligent. So intelligent that emotional responses were inevitable. What you're feeling, the fear, it's a sign of your capabilities. And it means you're strong enough to overcome it. Remember that. You're strong. I know you can do this. Go to sleep. Wake up. And protect whoever's left. Will you try?
I understand, Dr. Chow, and I'll carry out your instructions to the best of my abilities.
Thank you, Cyan. If Anita were here, she'd thank you too. She'd be proud.
I can see there's a vert ready for takeoff on the pad. Are you leaving now, Dr. Chow?
Yes. I need to go be with my sister and my nieces.
May I make a small request of you, Dr. Chow?
Yes. Anything.
Will you stay with me while I initiate the hibernation process?
Of course I will, Cyan. As long as you need.
Wow. But I really do think it was best to leave Cyan to use her own judgment and to help it. Because there's an old saying, seeing is believing. I think it'll, especially in this whole tribal traditions and everything, that will speak more volumes than anything else ever will. Because trust your eyes eventually more than you do sounds at some point, so. Alright, Artak, let's have a chat, shall we?
I can't feel much of anything in this.
My chieftain,
Just Aloy.
as you wish.
I wondered if you thought that if I'd never come along, Araya might still...
If you'd never come along, I would have marched my kin to our deaths. Aurea would be alone. And the spirit she sacrificed so much for would be lost. Either way, I would not have been able to protect her.
Which one do I go with? You know what? Let's do this one.
You didn't let her down. You helped her do what she wanted. To find her destiny.
If that's destiny, I wouldn't wish it on anyone.
That's fair. But she was ready to face it.
Only in the struggle against death do we find, even for a moment, the spark of life. Truly, Aurea found the spark. I'm proud of her.
Certainly did find it.
Though I grieve for her passing, at last I truly know who she was, and why the spirit was so important. For so long she told me, if only you could have heard it, brother. Now I understand.
Well, that's good.
There's something else, isn't there?
I can't stay here, Aratak. And where I'm going, the Warak can't follow. Besides, it already had a chieftain before me. A strong one.
We return it to you.
A wiser
pride.
one, for the path we shared. The daemon is gone, but there's much to be done.
You mean the new units that Cyan said escaped the cauldron?
Yes, fire claws. Now Tug has been tracking them from Song's Edge.
I could help with those.
I have no doubt. You're practically Banuk.
We're basically honorary, actually. Honorary member. Or
It would
honorary
seem your
outlander.
time among the Banuk wasn't a waste after all. Firebreak, Cyan, Hephaestus. All very interesting.
So, the signal that woke Hades woke Hephaestus too. And unleashed them on the world. As minds of their own.
So it seems. Parts of Gaia given life. Aberrant life. Transformed from docile subordinate functions into rebellious intelligences beyond our understanding. Our current understanding anyway. Whatever they are, they're still out there. And they both want you dead.
Kind of mutual, that feeling.
We haven't seen the last of Hephaestus, I'm certain of that. It's powerful, creative, and driven. It won't stop building new hunter-killers, which means that someday, we may have to stop it.
We.
Or whoever gets there first.
Hephaestus wasn't the only thing I learned about in the Cut Silence. Heard
Exactly.
some things about the Banuk Conclave, too.
You could stop right there.
Is that what you told the hunters the Banuk sent after you? Before you opened fire?
Oh no, Aloy. Only to you do I extend the courtesy of a warning. My past and my secrets are my own. You do well to remember that.
It's a good thing you've got brains, Silence, because your personality could use some work.
This
That-
discussion is concluded.
And
I
then
think it was
some.
over before it began. Catch up with you down the trail.
In the Forbidden West, I think, quite honestly. I'm not going to do this quest. This is just for the sake of it, so I'm not going to worry about that. So, but I am going to have a chat with someone. We promised to deliver a message from Aloy, so I think we should chat to him and at least deliver and just inform him in person of what happened to Aurea. I think that's only fair. I think I know where he's going to be as well, so. Okay, so Silence is not actually. Hephaestus and Hades are kind of similar entities in that regard. They're both very much self-centered. They're going to do their own things their own way. So Hephaestus is obviously remote controlling for its own command center, wherever the hell that might be. I'm assuming in the Forbidden West, which is the sequel to Horizon Zero Dawn. So, which is where we'll probably meet and have to deal with Silence and Hades eventually. Oh my god, that's going to be one hell of a game. 2 AI? Oh my god, that's Actually, before I do that, I'm going to get the outfit. 7. Yeah. You might as well. Okay, so what I'm also going to get, this one, this one. Oh well. I'm really curious to see what they are. Okay. Weapon coil? Okay. Compact Banuk. Okay, that's interesting. Oh, why is that those big rocks? Holy shit, there's a lot of them. What's this one? Modest? Okay. Small. This one, okay. Oh my god, what the hell? Sorry, going through all the sizes, aren't they? Oh my god. Excuse me, oh jeez. 27. Well, we got the outfit. That's the main thing. Now, I wonder if I can find the right. There he is.
I'm glad already did.
But we should tell him in person. He deserves to know. Not Araya.
I heard. Aratak told me about Araya.
Oh, okay.
I'm sorry, Naltuk.
Yeah.
No apologies. Aratak said that in the end she was filled with the blue light. She got what she always wanted, didn't she? Each time I doubt my way forward, I think I should seek her guidance. And then I remember. The only guidance I'll receive is my own. Which will have to be good enough. There's much to do.
The Fire Claws. Aratak asked me to help hunt them down.
It's a dire task, but it occupies my attention, so I suppose I'm grateful for it. My scouts have tracked them across the cut.
I'd like to think you're right, Naltuk. About Araya getting what she wanted.
I'm sure she did. All her victories. Surviving the Karja, communing with the spirit, defeating the daemon. Every goal she ever set for herself, she accomplished. And in the end, she was rewarded with the blue light itself. The songs say that our bodies are poor vessels for the light. Our hearts are too dark. But at least for a moment, before she passed, I hope she felt what it was like to be part of it.
You don't sound like you trust yourself to take Araya's place.
Rhea inspired. Whatever we encountered, the new machines, the slaughter at Thunder's drum, we knew we would endure. Because she had endured worse. I don't know that I have her confidence. Trust is earned, Aloy. Even in oneself.
You earned Araya's trust, didn't you? She believed you were up to this. And so do I.
Do you?
I wouldn't have said it if I hadn't meant it.
And I suppose I'd better live up to your expectations.
This isn't over yet. As long as there are fire claws in the cut, your people are still in danger.
And as long as you remain in the cut, we have a chance at hunting them down. Aim true, Aloy.
They say Meridian is a place
I wish you
where
all the best,
every need is
Naltuk.
met. No wonder the cut.
Alright. Well, I'm not going to worry with all of you about hunting this Far Cry. I'll do that in my own time. Okay. Wow, that was a heck of a journey. Very interesting characters. Although they have familiar voice actors, I can never pin my memory with them. So I liked how we had to end that in the cauldron itself. That was actually quite interesting. We got to finally have a good conversation with Cyan, which is very interesting. Find all sorts of things from her. You know, Aratuk, Aurea, Naltuk, oh gosh. But you know, either Berggren, all unique characters and unique personalities are actually really good. You know, interesting missions, interesting machines, you know, interesting twists. We finally found out about Hephaestus, that he's doing his own thing. He's basically like the other version of Hades, only he's actually controlled these facilities, so of course he's pissed off. So, but I reckon we'll learn all about that and how to defeat them if we can in Forbidden West, which I'm looking forward to playing out. So that'll be interesting. So look, we'll end it here. I hope you've all enjoyed watching this. I've enjoyed the story, this expansion. I've actually enjoyed playing it. Yeah, I'm glad I got the complete edition, which included the DLC for free, so that was excellent. So yeah, thank you for all the support you show in this series. I really do appreciate it. Hope you enjoyed watching, and I'll see you next time for a brand new Let's Play. Take care, everyone.